Welcome back. You're watching the Emerging India series. It's often said that experience is a cruel teacher because it gives the test first and the lesson afterwards. But what if you had someone giving you some private tuitions? Well, on the Emerging India series, Sumit Lakhotia put forth the stories of our SME and mid-sized company to a mentor and asked him to guide them on the way ahead.
Playing mentor on this episode is the founder and CEO of Mahindra Reva Electric Vehicles, Chetan Maini. With over 2 decades of experience in developing electric and solar-powered vehicles, he serves as the perfect guide to our two companies.
Mr. Maini, tell me, how did you start off in 1994 with the Reva, and how did that idea come up, and what were some of the challenges that you faced at that time?
Well, I think the idea germinated in around 1990 when I had a chance to be part of a solar car team that raced across the US and later across Australia, where we came third in the world. And I think traveling a distance of 3,200 kilometers on sun energy for me was a big eye-opener. The fact that you could generate your own energy, the fact that it was clean, and you could cross an entire country was great. I think for me the idea of what this could do in India was very powerful, and a few years later that started the birth of a Reva electric car company, which today is Mahindra Reva.
What were the first hurdles that you faced while you were trying to launch this company?
Well, let's look back at that time, right? I think neither was climate change an issue, and oil was at $20 a barrel, so neither was energy security a challenge globally. So I think at a time of that was the context was very different, and so it was even more challenging. I think the first key area was looking at technology, because technology wasn't ready. So a lot of focus of how do you create next generation technologies. We filed for many global patents on how you manage energy. Getting a team together, I could find no one with electric vehicle experience. Building people with the passion and then making them come together to deliver something new was very important. As we moved and looked at India's space, getting suppliers on board and convincing them, people really didn't see this business. Getting financial investors to say, would I want to put money in this business? Question often asked is, where else in the world is this? And then why are you now doing this? It won't work. And the whole idea of can India lead in a product development thing was not really, heard. And there are a lot of government challenges and organizational challenges. I think when we launched in 2001, a month before we launched, subsidies for electric cars were removed and taxes for electric cars were doubled and regular cars came down. Looking back at it, I think each of those challenges in some way was an opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves and make us stronger and make us more global company. So I look at them as parts of the growing pains of any organization.
Looking ahead, what are some of your future plans with the E2O and maybe any other new ventures that you're coming up with?
Well, for us, it's been a journey, and I think what we've been doing is, besides just doing the E2O, we've been trying to say, what does it take to get an ecosystem going? So over the last year, we've done several things to enable that to happen. So we had our Run on Sun technology, where with a 3 meter by 3 meter panel, you can get free energy for life. The whole idea of creating your own energy and giving you as a solution. So what has been happening is, besides the product, we're trying to say we need to create the ecosystem and the infrastructure that will enable green mobility to come in, right? And that's been one area. The other area has been looking at a host of new technologies. At a recent auto show, we showcased our Halo, a next generation sports car. We showcased our entry into Formula electric racing across the world. This is going to take the company to the next level of technologies. It's going to enable such technologies to come into our vehicles and our learnings for the last 20 years to go into such areas. So it's going to be this nice area of exchange of ideas and innovation that's going to allow us to take the next step.
What are your thoughts on the roles of SMEs in this space?
So I think it's a very exciting business for SMEs, because you've got this set of solutions in the green space globally that are very centered around challenges in the West, right? The challenges in India are very different, and so therefore here comes an opportunity where the solutions not necessarily are available. You could co-create and co-develop them, and as a result of that, probably create a new business model around this area. So you could take ingredients of what's happened globally, but probably structure that into India. And I think that's, to me, was a big advantage. Indian mindset in general is frugal. Indian mindset generally understands what it means to be affordable and using our own way, our jugaad innovation. And I think that when you couple that and you say, green is not about being cool, it's nice to be cool, But green is also about conserving energy, which actually makes it more affordable and makes business sense. Then I think you have a different solution. I think that's where I see SMEs playing a very large role, and it's creating these new business models which are Indian-centric with Indian affordable solutions.
Talking about awareness, you know, earlier we met up with two companies in the green space, and one of them is endeavour Recycling, which handles e-waste. How would a layman consumer know about these? Because, for example, a computer manufacturer makes a computer, makes a laptop, I buy it, I use it for 5 years, then I go to the Raddiwala.
Right.
But I should ideally go to the e-waste recycling center. So how should this awareness be created in the consumer's mind?
So I think that's a very important aspect, and I think that very broadly 3 things need to happen. One is the awareness. 2, is there a financial motivation to me on this, of looking at it? And 3, how easy it is for me to do. If I look at regular recycling, and if you have a container that had 3 boxes on it, and it says plastics go here and paper goes here, it takes you a second extra to do it. Your ease of doing it is very high, and so therefore the amount of recyclability is very high. So I think if we get these 3 right, I believe it can be happening. So is there a way to integrate the awareness that I'm doing the right thing, I'm getting a financial benefit, and it's very easy, across companies, corporates and other areas? I think there could be one area of probably opportunity.
The other company that we met with is called Adsop and Carbons. They've been exporting for the longest time, but recently now they've started focusing on the domestic market because of competition globally. Is that a good way to go ahead?
I think it's very important to have an India base, and I think if you're successful here, you're more likely to be successful globally. From our own learning experience, I think what is very helpful for us to have 2 different markets with 2 very different consumers. So when we had a European customer, he challenged us to innovate on a host of new technologies. And when we had an Indian consumer, he challenged us to get us the best value for money. Eventually, you could cross-pollinate these learnings because you were driven, your innovation in an organization was driven through 2 different factors. So I think it's the right strategy because they will be driven from a global market very differently than they will be driven from a domestic market.
What is your message to the SMEs that are watching our show?
I think it's a long journey, and you know, each day is going to be different. For me, it's still a journey, and we continue to. It hasn't reached, I think, a destination. And I think that looking at the bigger picture, allowing the successes every day motivate you to move on a tough journey is important. And I think as young budding entrepreneurs, I know that was something that kept me going, and I think that's one area that I would say will help me a lot.
So be passionate and be in this for the long haul.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maini, for joining us. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Emerging India. Tune in next week as we profile another strong SME and mid-sized company and put their stories in front of a mentor. Until then, from the entire team, many thanks for watching.